Okay, I am here with Tiffani, who completed the first round of Experience Freedom last year. And we're here to get a little insight about what her experience was like going through the program, what she gained. And so I would love if you were willing to just start off by sharing a little bit about where you were before Experience Freedom floated into your awareness, kind of where you were mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, and just kind of share with us from that point.
Great. Yeah. So when Experience Freedom came into my world, I was kind of hitting a plateau, I guess, in my growth and my spirituality. I was feeling a little bit stuck. I had done a lot of work on healing past traumas and done a lot of learning around certain things, but had really started feeling pulled towards wanting a coach or somebody to really mentor me and help me take it to the next level, and helping me with reading recommendations and just working through some of my own stories that I was catching myself in kind of a trigger loop with. So it was good timing. I was definitely needing a little bit more of a push, and I was thinking one-on-one, and then the group setting was an extra addition to that. So it was something that made a lot of sense for where I was at.
Amazing. So if you had to narrow down like the top three results that you received from being in this program, what would they be?
I would say probably number one was just really getting into alignment with feeling good and what I actually want for myself instead of what is kind of expected from society and other people. Really getting a lot more courage to chase my dreams and pursue my creative side. I am working in sales, but I'm really a creative at heart. So finding a way to integrate that into my everyday life and seek fulfillment there. And the number two thing I would say is just really cultivating my witness. It wasn't a practice I was very aware of. I struggle with anxiety and PTSD, so I get in loops of really negative self-talk and anxiety and that running dialogue in your head that can sometimes get really negative. And I was able to really catch myself and watch myself in those moments. And instead of becoming hard on myself, learning to really love and embrace that and let things in, but not write a story and not dwell on it. And then I would say the third is just my ability to communicate with others that maybe don't have the same views that I have, and creating a way to not take it personally and to greet people with compassion and love for where they're at instead of feeling like I needed to change them. Leading by example, and also just meeting them where they're at and creating it more of an open dialogue. So I was able to do that with my family around some religious differences that we have, and had a lot of healing there, and also the same with some friends that we were having some differences. So yeah, it's greatly improved my relationships and my ability to meet others where they're at.
I love all of this. It sounds also like learning to be more kind and softer and gentle and more compassionate with yourself automatically translated in being able to hold that space for others. And that's one thing that I love about you, is that the moment something really lands for you, you share it and you write about it and you incorporate your own, unique experience and your own unique translation of the work that we've done together, and you make it your own. And there are so many people I know that follow you and really love your brand of sharing and the way that you present this information, because you've integrated it and used it in your life.
Yeah, I agree. And it's given me a lot more confidence to share my voice and to share my stories as well. I used to have kind of the imposter syndrome of who am I to even talk about these things, because you feel, I'm not perfect yet. I haven't completely healed from this, so I probably shouldn't speak on it. And I think learning to love myself and really accept where I'm at in the moment and not be so worried about, well, I'm not here yet, and having a lot of compassion and love for myself and accepting my full story and releasing a lot of my own judgments against myself really cleared the energy for me to see other people in the same light. And that's been really beautiful. It's kind of like the 4 agreements, not taking things personally. When you forgive yourself, you have so much more compassion for other people. And I always considered myself to be compassionate and empathetic before experience freedom, but I was still holding so many judgments for myself that once those released, and that I had a majorly healing experience with the cacao ceremony in Costa Rica was probably the most life-changing experience that I've had as far as clearing traumas. So that coming back from that, it felt like a whole new world. Like once I got back, it was interesting just interacting with people on a daily basis, and things that normally would frustrate me or I'd feel annoyed with somebody, I was able to just like, all of that seemed to be really gone, because I had lost a lot of those judgments for myself and realized how much it's like you're projecting on other people's what is happening internally with your relationship with yourself.
Yes, I got chills when you were sharing. I love all of this, and you're absolutely right. It's shocking how much forgiving yourself just bleeds into every single aspect of our life. Thank you. So what was the biggest reason that you decided to actually invest in working with me? Was it an edge for you? Was the financial commitment a lot? Was it scary? Was it hard for you to invest this amount of money in yourself? Kind of let us inside those moments.
Yeah, it was an interesting shift, because I remember when we were first talking and we had a few conversations, and I had seen so much change in my perspective right away that I was seeing the value of what was happening. But yeah, the financial commitment was really scary for me. I mean, I live in San Diego. I live out here without any family or people to really help me if I was in a tough spot. So looking at that and looking at the financial commitment initially felt terrifying. I mean, it was like, oh my gosh, I don't have like savings. How am I going to, make this work? But I think, and that was a huge lesson too, is how much we can truly manifest when we really get into alignment with the fact that the universe is working to help us find our path. So if this is something that's going to help me reach others and help me reach my life purpose, once I opened to that and kind of released that, oh, I can't do this, I can't afford it. And instead of started, you had given me that mantra of everything always works out for me, and realizing how safe that I was, as soon as I did that, different means kind of came into my path. I got more photography gigs. I had family that was willing to, lend me money and help me invest in myself. And you brought up a really good point that changed my perspective, was if, investing in yourself shows other people they want to invest in you too. If I'm willing to do that work and love and invest in myself and put this commitment here, then other people have taken notice. And it changes everything. And it's not only changed just for experience freedom and my ability to manifest things for that, but it's changed my perspective. I'm in sales and work, and the way I deal with my clients, and the way I really just believe that if I keep my energy where I need to be, that I'm going to attract the right kind of clients and the right kind of partners, in financial and business endeavors. And yeah, so it was scary, but it all ended up working out. So I would encourage people to be open to letting some magic in and watching how things unfold when if you decide that this is something that's right for you, give the universe a little bit of space to work on your behalf on the other end.
Yes, I love that so much. Thank you. I'm curious, was there anything surprising or unexpected that you got out of this experience?
Oh yeah. I mean, so much of it, you don't really know what to expect at first. And you think like, oh, okay, I'm going to have better habits in my daily life. I'll probably get better at meditating, and, I'm sure there's going to be some healing, and you expect kind of like the inspiration and motivation piece of it. But I think the piece I didn't expect was how much I was going to really go back to old traumas and find ways to really truly release them from like a central nervous standpoint and from a subconscious standpoint. How much those traumas that I thought I had done so much healing on, it was like cleaning out some of the cobwebs that I didn't really want to look at, and doing that in a safe space. I think the most surprising thing for me was how immediately safe and loved I felt, not just with you, but with the entire group. I mean, I really didn't expect the group to get as close and be as open and vulnerable and loving and supportive as everybody was just from the get-go. I mean, we became a family almost instantly. And then the retreat was just like, the second we all met up, it was instant. And that's what I didn't expect. I think when you have different people coming from such different backgrounds and experiences, that you expect some people to click, but just for everybody to show up as vulnerably and as open and as supportive and as loving as they did was a real surprise, because you're releasing a lot of things and talking about such personal things. And, you know, there's a certain level of safety that people need to feel to really be able to show their true selves and open up about that. And I didn't expect it to be so easy and happen so quickly, but, you know, that's the kind of people that are attracted to this, are the people that are ready to show up and do the work.
Yes, thank you so much for that. And I'm curious how it felt for you having that space be with men and women.
I think it was important, honestly. I mean, I think that obviously there's great value in doing things that are centered around women or centered around men, but there was so much that I learned from the men, and also to see men, quite honestly, be that vulnerable gave me a lot of hope for finding a partner in the future that can show up, you know, as the divine masculine, like ready to be open and heal these wounds. And the same, it was incredible to hear the different perspectives on things, especially with everything going on in the world right now. I thought it was actually really important for it to be kind of that co-ed where we are really showing up and also showing them that we can be listeners as women, that we can hold them and that they can be vulnerable and cry and be held and be seen and be loved, and that that's okay. Not only that that's not okay, but that's encouraged, and that's what we really need from them. And same thing with the women. I've had really positive women in my life, but I know for some women that isn't the case. They're not used to women that can show up in a way that's really like sacred sisterhood and hold each other and not be judgy and to let down. You know, it was funny, like the first days of the retreat trying to wear makeup, and then by the end of it, everybody's like, I don't care about this. Like, let's just, you know, be with each other and our vulnerabilities. And it was fun to watch everybody kind of shift, men and feminine, from insecure to feeling safe and loved. It was beautiful.
Thank you so much. I love hearing all of your reflections because they're exactly what I had intended to create. So this is powerful for me to even hear you share, and you're so articulate. So thank you so much for, you know, being so clear in your experience. I'm curious if there was anything in particular that you appreciated about me as the space holder and kind of guide through this experience.
Yeah, I mean, there's many things, and there's a lot of things that are already obvious. First of all, you have done the work. So you've been there. You're not with somebody that's kind of on this pedestal. It's somebody that you really know has been there and is still doing the work. I actually really appreciated that there were times during the retreat that things were frustrating and not going well, and you were able to like be open about that, not going well, but not going as planned. And it was fun that we were all kind of there, able to be humans together. But I think that as a group was really beautiful. But personally for me, the most unique and my favorite thing that kind of pushed me to where I needed to be was the fact that you're willing to be open and hold space for the stories that I've written about myself, but that you don't believe them and you don't like allow me to succumb to them, that you're kind of like, oh, that's a cool story, but I don't believe you. You know, like, I don't believe it. Like, you're writing a story and kind of challenging me to start recognizing that. Like, oh, am I writing a story about who I've been or who I think I need to be, instead of challenging myself to unwrite that and giving myself kind of my power back to create my own, you know, my own self and my own experience was really different. Because a lot of, you know, you have a lot of girlfriends that want to be supportive, and by doing that, they're kind of like, oh my gosh, yeah, that's, you know, and they feed into it a little bit more than being able to share and feeling safe to say that, but also being challenged to, you know, like, oh, that's a nice story, but are you, you know, is this true? Is this in love, or is this coming from fear? And that's something that I've kind of taken on now, being my own coach in my head, where I catch myself doing it. And it's kind of that, like, what would Nina ask you right now? Like, what questions would she be asking you? And usually it's like, okay, is this story true? Is it from love or is it from fear? And that's been a huge catalyst for decisions that I make too. Am I making this decision out of love, or am I making it out of fear? And what would I do if I wasn't afraid? And it's just, I mean, it's amazing to me how much that shift in mindset that's just so slight, and it's allowing yourself to experience that and to have the human emotions, but not feed into it and not write a story about it, how much that changes my life on the daily right
now. Thank you so much. And, it's been 8 months since you went through this experience. So do you still feel like you got to keep the transformation and, is more unfolding? What is that like post?
Yeah. And it's actually funny how easy it became. It wasn't like, oh, this is like a daily struggle. And I'm really, it's just kind of once you really make those transformations. And of course, there's some days where I'm like, ooh, like last week, I was super out of alignment. I'd had a crazy week, but being able to see that when I was feeling really frustrated and emotional and having bad anxiety, instead of writing a story about that, I immediately went to like my alignment checklist of, okay, so instead of, oh my gosh, why am I so emotional and being hard on myself? It was like, ooh, okay, maybe you need to check and see, you don't feel good because you're not getting enough sleep. I had too many events for work. I kind of over peopled myself. I wasn't eating healthy last week because I was on the go. And I'm like, okay, so maybe spend a couple days doing self-care, getting back into alignment, and then see how you feel before you worry about writing a story about it. And it was like 2 days later, I was, feeling great again. So, that's a daily thing that I check in with now. Whereas before I probably would have just been like hard on myself about, oh, I'm having anxiety again. And, so that's been big. That's been easy. And I mean, I see massive transformations every single day. And the cool thing, probably the coolest byproduct of it, is how many transformations I've seen in my friends as a byproduct of my shift in mindset. How many people come and are like, what are you doing? What is this thing that you run on that you talk about? Because you're so different. You're so, happy and aligned, and, the things I've been able to manifest. And it's fun when other people recognize it too, because you're just shining really bright. And that's not every day, we're still humans, but now I give myself a little more leeway to chalk things up to, this is part of the human experience, instead of it becoming, such a big deal. So yeah, it's daily. It's still really magical. And it's crazy to me that it's been 8 months because it still feels so fresh. It's not something that's like, oh, this thing I did a long time ago. It's a thing that now I do every single day. So it keeps living on. It's cool.
Yes. Thank you so much. And, learning to become your own space holder and to know what questions to ask yourself in those moments, and holding yourself that way absolutely turns you into a permission slip. So not just you transform, but the people around you are like, what are you drinking? And can I have some of it? And you just being in that automatically gives them permission to start doing the same thing without you even having to teach directly or, tell them exactly what happened or have them go through the experience themselves. It's your vibration naturally being the most aligned one in the room transmutes everybody around you. And it's really fun to play in that field and to watch people, as you accept them fully, just transform right in front of your eyes.
Yeah, absolutely. And a big reason I did this was, I want to hopefully become a healer and a safe space for friends, and maybe, flirt with some coaching or writing a book, or, putting out more content to help other people. And I think realizing that you can start doing that at any point in your journey, because there are other people that are where you are at that you are going to be helping, or that aren't quite there yet, that maybe you're just a little further in your journey. Like, you don't have to be perfect. You don't have to be fully healed to help other people and to share your story. And I think sometimes it helps to not be so perfect and to not be fully there yet, because you're able to rub elbows with people and be like, hey, me too. Like, I'm sitting here with you. I'm not preaching this because I'm already fully there. Like, I'm still going through all of the human experiences, and I have days when I'm really out of alignment and I have to take a hard look at myself and say, how do we get back to where we're feeling good and, vibrating at a higher level? And another thing I remember that you taught me that helps too is like those days when you feel sad, instead of going and leaning towards like, oh, I'm going to have a glass of wine, or I'm going to go eat some, comfort food, hacking yourself and saying like, okay, that may feel good in the moment, but is that going to actually raise my vibration and help me get back into alignment? And just making those small, better choices when you're feeling lower to help you, raise back up. It's daily. It's changed my daily life continuously. And it exponentially changes. It's not like it, I guess, yeah, that's something actually that surprised me too, was you kind of feel like, oh, after the retreat, it's probably going to taper off. And it was actually really fun to see that, like, that was the start of it actually going up more. It's like every single day, the more magic that you witness in your own self and that you see in other people, because of the changes that you're making and the way you're able to influence people, it keeps getting better. It's not like you do it and then eventually you lose it. So yeah, I would definitely love to do another one in the future, because I'm sure it just like re-ups the experience. So
thank you for touching on that. And that is exactly why I don't do standalone retreats, because I want the container to continue so that the transformation that you receive continues to unfold in even deeper ways and in bigger reflections. So, thanks for sharing that. And it's also really a testament to the way that you showed up to your own work, that you chose this so fully and you gave yourself to it and you allowed it to work, and you stayed present to the gifts. You're not just kind of letting it go and kind of shrugging your shoulders like, yeah, that was cool. You chose to make this a lifestyle, and that's why it's worked so incredible for you. And you're already a safe space for your friends. You're already a healer. You write beautifully. You share so much powerful content. And it's because you're honest about where you're at. And I love that about you. And that's why I'm honest about where I'm at. And I do the work openly with my clients and my friends too, because I'm like, yeah, we're doing it together. We're all on this journey together. And some of us have different vantage points. But I agree so wholeheartedly that it is a journey that we're taking. It's not like some person got there and they're telling us the directions. It's let's open and let's see what's underneath when we start to open.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And that's the beauty of the container too, is that you're learning so much from watching other people go through things, that it may not be your exact experience, but there's lessons in all of it. And it's perspective and growing in your ability to see other people and other people's experiences, and realizing how different we are all, but how connected we all are together as well.
Thank you so much for everything that you shared. It's so powerful for me to hear, especially because it's been, 8 months since you completed the program. So thank you. And thank you for sharing everything that you share every day. So now that you've been through it, would you say that it was worth it?
Oh my gosh, absolutely. No contest. And I remember knowing that after the first group meeting. I mean, after our first call, it was like, okay, I feel it now. Like, seeing everybody and it becoming real was so cool. And it was, after that first call, everybody was so open and vulnerable and just showed up. It was cool. I didn't feel like there was like a warm-up period. It was just like, well, here we all are. Let's do the thing. Like, everybody was really committed to it, and that made it worth it from the get-go, like seeing how committed everybody else was as well. So
amazing. Is there anything else that you would want to share with somebody who's considering taking this on and joining me for this experience?
Yeah, I mean, if it feels right, just, leave space for the miracle. If you're feeling really pulled to it, dive into that and let it show up for you. I think that the magic occurs once you kind of surrender to the fact of like, okay, this is where I'm supposed to be. The synchronicities are here. Pay attention to the signals too. Sometimes it's easy to write off some of those synchronicities, not realizing that they're signs as well. So yeah, just if you're thinking about it and are on the fence, dig deep. And if you're feeling really pulled to it, like I remember feeling it in my chest, like when we would talk about it, and the like excitement was very visceral. It wasn't just like, oh, this sounds really cool. It was like a feeling in my chest. It was a pull. And pay attention to that. And and also have reach out to Nina if you're thinking about it. Like, she's very good at talking you through ways to kind of get in alignment with what you're trying to manifest and how to make it work. So Nina, she'll help you.
Thank you so much, Tiffani. This is so beautiful, and I'm really excited for whoever receives this to get to really peer into your experience, because you're such a beautiful example of what's possible in this. And, you know, I just want to thank you for co-creating the first round with me. You were such a huge part of it, and it definitely wouldn't be what it is without you. I love you so, so much, and thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much.